So, chapter 5, Ethics, Politics, and Diversity is the subject matter for today. And for some reason, my clicker's not working. We're going to be talking about how ethics influence personal and professional behavior, the importance of maintaining confidentiality in the workforce, applying ethical decision-making, how to respond to unethical behavior, which happens quite often, and different workplace forms of workplace power and their appropriate use. So we talk about morals and ethics. What is the difference between morals and ethics? Anybody know what morals are? What's that? Yes, that's part of it. You hear about ethics and morals quite a bit. Do we know what the difference is? Do we know what it means? Anybody?
I guess not officially.
What's that?
I said I guess I don't know the differences.
Okay. All right. So morals are, or ethics are a moral standard of right and wrong, and the definitions in kind of in both, so it's a little confusing, I know. But morals are basically what you believe internally is being what's right and wrong. Think about ethics. Think about ethics as externally. So you might look at something religious-wise. You might have the 10 Commandments telling you what's right or wrong. Or if you're in the workplace, you might be looking at the employee handbook, and that's all external. But about morals, we're talking about internal and your own internal mechanism for determining what's right and what's wrong. Just your personality, like it says, is influenced by outside influences. So is your ethical makeup. So as we learn, as we grow, both personally and professionally, you're going to, that all shapes who you are as a person. So ethical behavior, in essence, is, my version of ethics may be different from yours, and it's different from yours. Everybody's different in what their ethical makeup is. Now, when we look at morals, though, you get into the workforce, and you're going to have an employee and SOP handbook, and this handbook's going to go over the rules and regulations of the company. So, how many of you have ever worked with a company that has an SOP manual or employee handbook? Okay. Now, is everything inside that handbook, does everybody follow to the T? Why not?
They're not enforced.
That's good. All right, if you're on computers or cell phones, just put them away for the time being. They're not enforced. Anybody else? Why your company doesn't enforce SOP, the rules and regulations? You have a brand new business that just started up that you're working at. So I'm sure in the beginning you had, corporate people in, they're going over, and you have a lot of people in who are talking about, your training, everything else, the right and wrong way to do things. But now, after they leave, do things change after they're gone, or do they stay pretty much?
Mine is a very special case because the person that hired me is the manager, and he trained all of us individually and the people. He specifically chose people that he knew he wanted to work there.
Mm-hmm.
So he trained us all. He's been with us. He continues to work there.
Mm-hmm.
So we are all exactly the same as we were before because he made sure that we were working together.
Okay, how many of you have ever been part of like a new store opening, new restaurant opening, anything like that? Okay, I will tell you firsthand what happens is in the beginning you have a ton of staff there, you have a lot of managers, you have a lot of corporate people, they're all going over the right, everything's picture perfect because in the corporate world, everything's perfect. And on paper, morally, everything's perfect because you have this SOP manual which says this is how things are done. This is the way, from a corporate standpoint, your business is run. And what happens is people get started with that, and then what happens, you start cutting corners here and there. People start cutting corners. Rules aren't being enforced. You have managers who tend to look the other way for one reason or another, which we'll get into, and the next thing you know, the standards start slipping. What you see in an SOP manual is different than what is in real life, because on paper, everything's perfect, okay? However, we all know, having worked in operations, not everything's perfect, and there's a way that things should be done, and then there's a way that things are done. Hopefully you want to align yourself with a company where they're both the same. However, as we all know, there's companies out there where that's not the same. On paper, they look great, in person, you have, you know, there's unwritten rules, there's politics involved, there's a whole lot of different things to why that company is not run the way it should be. A lot of it, well, it all has to do with leadership and management. You have some people who are more interested in being people's friends than they are in running a business. I've seen it over my 25 years all the time. So that's why rules aren't enforced. You see people who were taking shortcuts each and every day, whether it's uniforms, which I'm a huge stickler on uniforms. It could be uniforms, it could be, you know, one of 1,000 different things. But corners are cut each and every day, and after a while, what you have from the beginning when you had this new store opening is you now have just, you know, a hot mess on your hands, and it's tough to fix that. So we're going to talk about that a little bit and why that happens, and a lot of the ethics and morals we're going to talk about today don't relate too much to operations. I want you to keep that in mind because this does have a lot to do with how your operations are run over time. What unethical behaviors do students sometimes display in class? Yes?
Speaking while the teacher's speaking.
They're really good. Anybody else?
Phones, computer.
What's that?
Phones and computers during the wrong times.
Right, as you probably guessed, I'm not a huge fan of that. Oh no, really unethical, but it isn't. You know, if you want to look at the contract, which is the syllabus, it'll say different things in there as to right and wrong. That's basically the morals of the class is paying attention to everything else. But we all know things happen after that. Other unethical behaviors can be cheating on examinations, which we don't really have much in this class, or but in other classes you'll find that. We're talking about morals, which is a personal standard of right and wrong. What you believe is right and wrong. Values are important beliefs that guide a person's behavior. Character is unique qualities that are inherent to each person, which consists a lot of your morals. Basically, you tell a lot about character and integrity. And integrity, I think, is the bigger of the two, where you're consistently acting in a manner, whether people are watching you or not, and whether, at all times you are this person. What you see is what you get. People call it a stand-up person. Everybody heard that expression? That means somebody who does the right thing day in and day out. It's not because Mr. Flohr is up here teaching or whatever the case may be, or because your boss is there watching. You're doing the same thing each and every day. And that consistency is what's going to make you a success in business. Now, I will choose character and integrity over skill set 99 times out of 100 when looking for hiring decisions with future employees. And it's something that you have to keep in mind as you're going out there and with interviewing. If you are a person of high, if you think you're a person of high integrity and morals, I would bring that up. But you have to be able to back that up, and always remember that the moment that's lost, it's lost forever. So a lot of people are going to get to in this, today as we talk about this, it's the little things that really mean a lot. And especially talking about integrity, things like, taking off the supplies or whatever the case may be, or letting some things slide. If you're a person of integrity, your bosses and your employees and everyone you work with is going to know that you're a stand-up person, and they won't test that because it happens a lot. How do ethics, values, character, and integrity factor into your life plan? Has anybody ever thought about it? Seriously, no one's thought about it?
I think so.
How's that?
Because the way, your values and all that is, it's how you act. And, you think about, say, like, your values, if you are, say, a person who goes out and parties during the middle of the work week or school week, it's going to determine your next day. Mm-hmm. And it's all connected. Mm-hmm. So if you go out a lot, during the work week, you're not going to be on top of your game the next day.
Right.
So I definitely think about that a lot.
Anybody else?
I feel like that could go both ways. Some people are like a natural that they can stay out all night and then wake up and boom, it's right there, it's ready to go.
That's true too, I've seen it,
Mhm.
I've seen it in action.
It's also kind of like, you know, with your ethics and like all that, sometimes people will go ahead and start carrying themselves on how they want to be whenever they get to their future job, but they're also at the same time thinking about their current job and do everything that they had to do for there, but they're already going to go ahead and start getting themselves ready mentally and by, you know, someone who maybe wants to work in like childcare, they're already going to be more enthusiastic
Mhm.
and getting ready to be with all that, or so.
Right, we talked about this when we talked about goal setting and life planning and career planning earlier, is you have to have a long-term idea set as to what you wanna do and prepare yourself for that position. Now, if you have somebody who, you know, if your integrity is ever questioned, or your ethics are ever questioned, or I'm sorry, your morals are ever questioned, you can't have those type of things in your life, so you need to be able to address that and make sure people know, your colleagues, your colleagues, your employees, and your bosses know that you are a stand-up person and that you will never, no one can ever question your integrity. That's super important in your career. For some, you know, no one should be able to look back and say, well, you know, he's a good person, but question where you can't ever have that. So make sure that that your character is high on your list. So we talk about values, conflict, and confidentiality. Each company has a corporate culture, and that determines how employees behave. Again, everyone has a handbook. From a corporate standpoint,